You open your banking app. Your salary is the same. Your balance looks normal. And yet, something feels off. Groceries cost more. Rent jumped again. Even coffee feels like a small luxury now. No new tax was announced. No letter came in the mail. Still, you're paying more. Not because prices went up, but because your money quietly went down. This is the invisible tax, and almost no one sees it happening. Right now, governments around the world are creating money at a pace that would have sounded impossible just 20 years ago. Not stealing it, not earning it, creating it, with a few keystrokes. And when that happens, something strange begins. Prices start lying to you. Let me show you how. Imagine a small town with 10 people and $100 total. Everyone understands what a dollar is worth. A sandwich costs $5. Life makes sense. Now imagine the government drops in another $100 overnight. Nobody worked extra, no new sandwiches were made, just more money. The sandwich is still one sandwich, but suddenly, $5 doesn't feel right anymore. The price drifts to $8, then $10. Not because the sandwich got better, because the money got worse. That's the core of it. When more money chases the same stuff, the money loses weight. But here's the part people miss. Inflation isn't prices going up. Inflation is money losing value. Prices are just the symptom. Now, let's zoom out. In 2008, after the global financial crisis, central banks discovered a powerful tool. If the economy slows down, print money, buy government bonds, flood the system with cash. It even had a polite name, quantitative easing. Back then, it sounded temporary, emergency only, a one-time fix. Then came 2020. In just a few months, trillions of dollars were created, faster than ever in history. Entire decades of money creation compressed into a single year. And it worked. Markets stabilized, governments paid bills, people got stimulus checks. But nothing in economics is free. When new money enters the system, it doesn't spread evenly. It moves in a very specific order. First, it goes to governments, then banks, then large corporations and financial markets. Only later, much later, does it reach wages. That delay is the trick. By the time your paycheck increases, prices have already adjusted. Asset prices have already inflated. Housing, stocks, real estate, gone up. So even if you get a raise, it feels like you're running in place. Or worse, falling behind. This is why it feels personal. You didn't mismanage money. You didn't suddenly get bad at budgeting. The rules changed quietly. And here's where the tax part comes in. A normal tax is visible. It's voted on. You see the number, you feel annoyed, you complain. This one is silent. If inflation runs at 8% and your savings earn 2%, you just lost 6% of your purchasing power. No bill, no warning. That's a tax on holding cash. And the people who feel it the most are the ones with fixed incomes, savings accounts, or wages that don't adjust quickly. In other words, not the people closest to the money printer. There's a strange irony here. The more responsible you are, saving money, avoiding debt, staying cautious, the more exposed you are to the system. Because debt behaves differently. When money loses value, debts shrink in real terms. You repay loans with cheaper money. Inflation quietly forgives borrowers while punishing savers. That's not a conspiracy. It's just math. Now think about prices again. Why does it feel like prices never come down? Because once money loses value, it almost never regains it. Governments rarely destroy money at the same speed they create it. Deflation is scary. Inflation is manageable. So prices don't rise, They reset. What used to feel expensive becomes normal, what used to feel normal becomes cheap, and what used to feel cheap disappears. That's why your brain keeps saying something's wrong. It is. But here's the uncomfortable part. Governments rely on the system. High debt levels become easier to manage when inflation eats away at the real value. Printing money is politically easier than raising taxes. No debates, no riots, just time. And as long as inflation stays confusing, the pressure stays low. That's why the conversation always focuses on prices, not on the money itself. Because if people understood that their money is being diluted, they'd ask harder questions. Questions like, who benefits first? Who pays last? And how long can this continue? Here's the final twist. The invisible tax only works while people trust the system, while they believe money will hold value tomorrow. Once that belief cracks, everything accelerates. Prices don't just feel like they're lying, they start shouting. So the real question isn't whether money printing has consequences. It's this. At what point do people stop measuring life in prices and start measuring it in trust?